The JoLynn Braley Show, Episode 11, Sugar Addiction. Isn't this the reason I'm overweight? Hello and welcome. This is JoLynn Braley, the FAT Release Coach, and this is the JoLynn Braley Show. What is FAT? FAT are your fear-attracting thoughts, and an FAT mindset manifests the excess physical fat on your body. When you have an FAT mindset filled with fear-attracting thoughts, that mindset creates the overeating behaviors, the overweight body, the overweight mind, the overweight life, and the overweight health. You can't get beyond an FAT mindset. The mind leads the body always, 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 always. What's exciting is that once you replace an FAT mindset with a weight loss mindset, then you'll finally make weight loss super easy for yourself. You see, the truth is, weight loss is not hard. It's not rocket science. There are basic principles that when you apply them to the human body, they work. But if you're not doing those basic principles, which have to do with how you eat and exercise, the reason you're not doing them is because you don't have the mindset in place. Mindset is 90% of the game of achieving lasting success with your weight. So join me on today's show as I go beyond the food to the real issue being your mindset. Specifically on today's show, I'm going to address a question that was sent in to me through one of my websites. That website is fearlessfatloss.com. And actually, you can go to fearlessfatloss.com to learn more about a weight loss mindset and learn more about what I do with my very, very inspiring permanent weight loss coaching clients. So let's take a look at this topic, today's topic being sugar addiction. Isn't this the reason I'm overweight? Well, there are a lot of people out there who do think that food and how they eat is 100% the reason that they are struggling. Well, of course, how you eat and exercise does have something to do with your overweight body. Absolutely. We all know that. But why do you do the things that you do to yourself to keep the fat on your body, the excess physical fat, to keep yourself in an overweight condition? Why do you do the things, the behaviors that cause you to gain weight even after you've lost weight? You may be like some of my awesome, inspiring, permanent weight loss coaching clients before they met me, and some of my clients, they already knew how to lose weight. That wasn't the problem. In fact, that's the case for most of them. But for some of them, what they would do is they would lose weight and then regain it and do that over and over and over and over and over again. So weight loss in and of itself is usually not the problem for most people, because all you have to do is change your eating and exercise habits. The problem with it, though, is that when you are not a match on the inside to what you want on the outside, it's a huge struggle to live the healthy lifestyle because you don't match up. You're not in alignment with it. But what about this topic of sugar addiction? Isn't an addiction supposed to be out of your control? Possibly, could it be an excuse? Could it be that it's a way to keep yourself overweight by saying, oh, I must be addicted, therefore I have to continue to eat sugar? Well, let's take a look at that and see about that. First, let me read to you here this note that was sent in to me. This reader of Fearless Fat Loss, what she had done is she read an article that I wrote a long time ago. I wrote this over 6 years ago. And that was when my site, Fearless Fat Loss, it used to be called The Fit Shack. And I changed the name last year in 2012 to Fearless Fat Loss because it better represents the fact that, hey, you've got FAT on your mind if you have excess physical fat on your body that you do not like. And so I'm very happy with the name Fearless Fat Loss. As it is, though, when I first started this website, which back in 2007 was called The Fit Shack, at that time I was writing mainly about food. I was focused on the 10%. Now, I knew about the 90%, and I did write about the 90%. I wrote about mindset. I wrote some very popular articles about using your brain to lose weight, and the fact that any diet that you do is only a band-aid on the symptoms of overweight if you never heal the root of what caused your overweight in the first place. That's why you're able to lose weight, but then you just gain it back, because you never healed the root of the problem. The root of the problem has to be healed if you want struggle-free permanent weight loss. If you don't want to succeed and if you don't want to lose the weight and keep it off, then you don't need to be concerned about healing the root. If you're okay with dieting and then regaining weight and then dieting, losing weight and regaining it, if that's okay with you and you like that process, then you don't need to be concerned about what the root of your problem is, because then it doesn't bother you. But the fact of the matter is that the excess physical fat on your body is only a symptom of the underlying issue. Your overeating behaviors are also only a symptom of the underlying issue. And since you know this now, you probably know the answer to the question, is sugar addiction the reason that you are overweight? But let's take a look at what Ellen wrote in her email after she read my old article about sugar addiction. I had written an article, like I said, this was over 6 years ago, and I had done a book review on a book back then, and that's what she read. Today I have an update in that article, which she also read, and in the update I wrote that I don't believe in sugar addiction anymore, and then I put in there in that update in the article that a person could just grab my free e-course if they'd like to find out more about a weight loss mindset. And you actually can do the same. You can get my free 5-day e-course at fearlessfatloss.com. Okay, so here's what Ellen wrote in her email. I found your site while researching sugar addiction. I'm in the process of reading the book Potatoes Not Prozac, and it seemed like in your update that you no longer believe in this type of program. I am getting very overweight, and I find it very difficult right now as I am craving lots of sugar. Did you find it helpful? She's referring to that book. And did you find it helpful and then found something better? I recognized some Abraham Hicks language in your material, but although I love the message, I have not been able to get it to work for me regarding weight or attracting money either. Anyhow, would like to understand more about what you do and why you changed from the sugar addiction idea. Thank you, Ellen. Well, there is a lot that can be said even in this very short note here from Ellen. And she also wrote another one a couple weeks later because I had written back and told her I'd write an article about it. The thing is that the way that my coaching practice works is I have to spend my time first with my permanent weight loss coaching clients, and it's great to get these questions from folks who read the articles on my websites. either on fearlessfatloss.com or stophidingbehindthefat.com. And sometimes I'm not able to get to these right away because my clients, they do take the priority. And then I decided, I'll do the podcast about this, which is great, so that it's actually easier for me to address this question. So she also wrote again to follow up a couple weeks later. And before I read that, let me address her first note. All right, so I found your site while researching sugar addiction. And then she's reading that book, Potatoes Not Prozac. It seems like in your update you no longer believe in this type of program. Okay, first of all, I never did believe in that book. I wrote a book review about it. It was something, in fact, I even wrote it in my article, that I never did that program even 6 years ago. I just picked up the book and I wanted to write an article about it. And what I had actually done is I only picked out the part of the book that had, I believe there were 10 questions that you can answer, which would tell you if you are addicted to sugar according to the book. And that's the only part that I use. And that's in the article also. And like I said, I wrote in the article that I never did that program. So, first of all, I never believed in that program to begin with. Second of all, regarding sugar addiction, I used to have the thought that sugar addiction was the big problem and that food was the big problem. Well, today, I know that's not true, and I even knew it back then, but I did not want to take the time for myself to address the real problem all those years ago. In fact, I knew about the real problem 20 years ago. I always knew that it was an inner problem because I've gone through these same challenges. That's what I'm talking about right now. I've gone through the same challenges that my weight loss coaching clients have gone through before they met me. The obsessions with the food, the overeating, feeling like you're addicted to sugar and that you can't eat just one. I've gone through all of that. The truth is that once you transform on the inside to become a match to the person and the body and the life that you want to live on the outside, then any kind of addiction, if you call it that, that is no longer the case. What a feeling of sugar addiction is really about, it's about that fear. It's about fear attracting thoughts. If you were to, she mentioned that she saw that I've referenced Abraham Hicks. If you were to pick up the Abraham Hicks book, it's called Ask and It Is Given, and look at the emotional vibrational scale in that book, fear and depression are at the bottom of the scale. That is as low as you can go in your emotional state. It is the state of powerlessness. It is a state of fear. And when you're living in those fear-attracting thoughts and you don't know how to take action to change yourself from the inside out, then what most people do is they reach for a substance. They reach for the food or a cigarette or alcohol. Some people reach for sex. There are people that, they say they're addicted to sex. Well, there's people addicted to shopping or gambling. Those are all outside actions that you're taking in an effort to somehow heal an inner problem, but those outside actions can never touch the inner problem because the inner problem is not being addressed. And once you work with a pro who already has a step-by-step proven system to help you do this, once you heal the root of what's driving you to eat the sugar, then if you want to have a cookie, you have a cookie, but it's not a big deal anymore. It's not an addiction. It's not an obsession. In fact, there are even ways to change how your brain looks at certain foods. There's all kinds of things that can be done on the inside of you so that these behaviors to go to the sugar in an effort to feel better and to release the fear and the depression and the powerlessness, those actions and behaviors to eat sugar are just no longer there. And then she asked, okay, I'm getting very overweight and find it very difficult right now as I'm craving lots of sugar. Well, this is a chicken and the egg sort of question. Which came first, the overweight or the fear and the depression or the sugar addiction in her mind and in a lot of people's minds? And that's what I used to think also, was that it was a sugar addiction. Well, what came first is the inner root. And the feeling, the bad feeling, the depression, the powerlessness, the hopelessness, the feeling bad. That's what came first. And then the overweight, then the overeating, then the sugar addiction came. That's how it works. That's why if you want to have permanent success with your weight, if you want to release all emotional eating, if you want to release all of your self-sabotage, if you want to release any kind of what you may be calling sugar addiction, it has to be an inside-out job. 90% of this problem is on the inside. 10% of it is diet and exercise. Now, does that mean that there are not any kinds of foods today in this processed food world that may trigger you to eat more? No, there are foods like that. But if you don't know how to step into your own inner power and take control of your own mind and emotions, then you're at the mercy of the processed food industry, which basically what you're doing is using it as a drug. It's the same thing to use food to try to make yourself feel better as it would be to be using prescription or non-prescription drugs. Obviously, there's a difference in how people look at those or how people look at alcohol. But anytime you are reaching for a substance outside of yourself, instead of going within and using very specific tools to change how you feel, anytime you do that, it's a crutch, and it's not a solution. It's not going to get you to where you want to be if you want to achieve permanent success with yourself, with your weight, if you want to end all of this out-of-control eating. And this is interesting, too, how she wrote that I recognize some Abraham Hicks language in your material, but I have never been able to get it to work for me regarding weight or attracting money. Well, here's the truth about that. Universal law and law of attraction always works. If you're not getting the results from it, then you're not working it. That means that you have to actually do something. You have to do very specific things, very specific action steps, so that you get in alignment with what you want and where you want to be, so that you get in alignment with the body you want. With my permanent weight loss coaching clients and my proprietary proven step-by-step system, the Inner Self Diet, they receive all the tools that they need so that they are completely in their own power and they know how to feel good at any time, and there is no more need for food for emotional reasons. Do you still need to eat? Oh, of course you do. Absolutely. You're a human being. What's really exciting, though, is that when you have that weight loss mindset and you are the person on the inside that matches the body and the life you want on the outside, then it's so easy to live the healthy and fit lifestyle, and there's no more need for an outside substance to try to change how you feel. Okay, I'm looking at the time because all of these shows each week, I'm keeping them under 30 minutes, so I'm not even going to be able to cover this entire other email that she sent in. But just one thing that I want to cover, one point, is Ellen sent in a second email, and she wrote that, she said that with this book that she was reading, Potatoes Not Prozac, she said, I researched it and I found that many folks found that the author thought that she was cult-like in her beliefs, And then she wrote, "That worries me." She said, I feel like I need to get it right once and for all, and I do not want to spend lots of time and energy on something that ultimately won't help me. Okay, number one, yeah, the way to get it right once and for all is to work with a professional who already has a proven step-by-step system that heals the root of your problem, which is a lifelong problem. When all of my clients, when I help them discover that, they see that this has been a problem that they've had since they were kids. And it's never gone away. They may have even had times during their life where it seemed like they didn't have a problem with their weight, but it always came back. So if it comes back, then the root hasn't been healed. Or if you did learn how to get a weight loss mindset and you stopped maintaining that mindset and you stopped using the tools that give you the results of struggle-free weight loss and maintenance, then that's another story, because you do need to maintain your mindset for life, just like you maintain anything. But the beauty and the benefit of taking the time to maintain your mindset each day is that the mind leads the body, always. You cannot take an action in your life without first having a thought. So it's very easy to maintain your weight when you maintain your mind first. And all successful people know this. Anyone who has ever succeeded in any area of their life, they feed their mind every day before they feed their body. This is not anything new. This is not a secret, but you have to do the work. You have to do the steps. You've got to take the time to do that each day, and you need to be using tools that actually work, that are proven to work. So that's one thing to address, that, yeah, you do want to get this right once and for all. The other thing, though, when she wrote that she was doing research and found that many folks thought that the author of that book was cult-like in her beliefs. Well, here's the thing. You can go online and you can research anyone. You can research wonderful people. For example, Oprah, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, Louise Hay. If you have the belief or the thought that any of these people are horrible or cult-like or the devil, quote unquote, you can find information online where people believe that Oprah is the devil. Now, come on. That woman has done so much good for so many people. But here's the thing about beliefs and proving yourself right. If you believe that Oprah is bad, or that Deepak Chopra is bad, or that some author of a book is bad, well, if you believe that and you're going to, you want to prove yourself right, and you want to, maybe you want to blame somebody else, or you want to give your power away to other people and say, well, that's why this never worked. Well, you will find proof of that. You can always, always, always prove yourself right. There's always going to be someone out there who will give you negative proof or positive proof. In fact, this is very, very interesting. Here's a personal example that I've had in my own life. If you go to fearlessfatloss.com, fearlessfatloss.com/testimonials-JoLynn-Braley, there are numerous testimonials on there from folks that I have worked with, my inspiring permanent weight loss coaching clients who write and also talk. I've interviewed many of them on audio interviews, and you can even listen to these people. They talk about these amazing transformations that they've had. Folks who, Laura is one, who went from depression to struggle-free weight loss. Julie is another outstanding success story. Dave, he dropped 90 pounds without struggle. There are so many people on there that I've worked with, and they gave their wonderful feedback because they wanted to help other people get inspired and believe in themselves. Because the truth is that if there's one person out there who can do something, then you can do it too. All you have to do is do the same steps that they did. Now, here's what's interesting about this. I have talked to folks who they were so strong in their belief that they could never lose weight and that no one could help them, that they sort of believed that these other people had gotten results, but even though they believed that the other folks I'd worked with had gotten results, they did not believe they could ever get those results. And guess what? They are correct. If you believe you can't, and if you believe that you cannot be helped, you are right, and you will prove yourself right. And if you believe that an author of a book is cult-like in her beliefs, you're right. You're going to prove yourself right. Now, if you also believe that that author of that book is trying to help you and is doing good and is sharing her information with you, then you will find proof of that. That's how strong your beliefs are. And you have to prove your beliefs right, because otherwise you would be crazy, literally. That's why you can believe something so negative, such as believing the thought, oh, I'm always going to be fat, I'm always going to be poor, I'm always going to be alone. If you believe those thoughts, you are right, and you will prove them to be correct. Now, isn't it interesting that you could believe the opposite, and then you would prove those to be correct? The challenge there is actually changing those beliefs, and for most people that is a very difficult thing. The only reason because they have practiced the negative for so long in their life. All right, so bottom line, is sugar addiction the problem? No, your mindset is the problem, and once you get a weight loss mindset, then you're not going to have that problem any longer. So we've got to wrap up this episode because I'm looking at the time and it's going to be way too long for these short little episodes each week. So quick commercial break. Today's sponsor of the show, go to StopHidingBehindTheFat.com. You can see there on StopHidingBehindTheFat.com there's a registration form in the upper right hand corner where you can grab, actually it's my free 5-day e-course. It's titled Is Your Mindset Fit or Fat? And it will help you discover what's really been stopping you from losing weight for good and what you can do about it. You'll also get an added bonus of my weekly e-zine that will be delivered to you free each week on Tuesday at no extra charge. Shoutouts this week. Shoutouts, the way that you get a shoutout from me is go to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com and click the like button to like the Facebook page. Each week I'm giving shoutouts to all the new likes on the page. It's a lot of fun, and I love to thank the folks and say hi to those who like the page. This week's shoutout goes out to Stacy. Now, I have a request for you who's listening right now. Go to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com, click like on the page, and then leave me a comment if you've ever had this problem with your Facebook page. What has happened is that I cannot see the list of all the people who like the page now. Even though I'm seeing the number go up, I'm not seeing the list of likes. I wrote to Facebook about this, and then in their message they said that they can't respond to everyone. So I'm just curious, if you've ever had this problem, how did you fix it? You can leave me a comment there by going to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com, clicking like on the page, and tell me how you fix that on your page if you've got that problem too. And as long as I can see that you show up in that like list, then I will give you a shout out on the next show. And I'm more than happy to do that. All right, your question of the day. Here's a question that you can write down on paper. What do you believe for yourself? Do you believe that the number one reason that you're overweight is because of the food you eat? Or do you believe that the real problem is your mindset, which is 90% of the problem? But do you believe that? Do you believe that if you were to get a weight loss mindset, that you'd no longer have a problem overeating and eating foods that you don't want to eat? Because that's really where the problem is. It's on the inside. Once you change the inside, then the outside will follow. All right, what you learned today. You learned today that the real issue is your mindset. That is why you are in struggle with your weight. That's 90% of the problem. Once you get a weight loss mindset, then you will make weight loss very easy for yourself. It will be easy for you to follow through with the healthy eating and the regular exercise. It'll be easy for you to do the things that you already know how to do, and it will be easy for you to stay consistent. No more self-sabotage. You also learned today that you can always prove yourself right. You can find anything online that will prove your negative thoughts and beliefs right. You can also find anything online that will prove your positive thoughts and beliefs right. For example, if you want to prove yourself right that yes, you really can achieve struggle-free permanent weight loss, then hey, go to my website, fearlessfatloss.com, and read those testimonials. Listen to the audio testimonials, and that will help you to prove yourself right that you can also have the same results. Because if there's one person on this planet who has ever done what you want to do, you can do it too. You just do the same thing they did. It's very simple. You also learned that depression comes before the overweight. Your fear-attracting thoughts are what creates the overweight on your body. The overweight is not the cause of the depression and the fear and the powerlessness and the hopelessness. The negative feelings are the cause of the overweight. Solve the inner self issues, and then the outer problems will take care of themselves. No more running to food to try to make yourself feel better, because you won't have a reason to do that. You already will know how to feel better because you will have the proper mindset and the tools that will enable you to do that. You also learned that sugar addiction, quote unquote, is only another symptom of an FAT mindset, just like the excess physical fat on your body is only a symptom. All right, so thanks so much for being on the show today. Be sure to go to the JoLynnBraleyShow.com and like our Facebook page, and you'll get a shout out from me on an upcoming show. If you're subscribed in iTunes, go ahead and give the show a 5-star rating. That would be great. Next week's show, is fat a 4-letter word? Very interesting. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for being on the show today. This is JoLynn Braley, the FAT Release Coach, and you've been listening to the JoLynn Braley Show. Go to fearlessfatloss.com to learn more about struggle-free permanent weight loss and grab your free 5-day e-course while you're there. Here's to your best life in your ideal body.